Hey, 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 Mom Nation, and welcome back to another episode of Live and Learn. I have an awesome guest with me today, and you may recognize her. She has awesome hair, actually. I love it, Jen. You may recognize her. She has been with us before, having a conversation that I like to have, but I know is uncomfortable to have. And I like to have it because we have to have it, Jen, because we're humans and it's inevitable for us one day. And we have aging parents, aging grandparents, things like that going on in our lives. And we've got to talk about what happens when the end is near. And again, I hate it's a spicy subject, right? Or an emotional subject, I should say. But it's one that we just don't have enough, in my opinion.
I really couldn't agree more, Katie. Thank you so much. That is actually part of one of my passions and a driving force into my doula work. Excuse me. Already.
I know. Is that time of year?
Yep. I have had a couple of end-of-life experiences up close and personal to me, my grandmother and then my stepmom. And there was not enough planning done. And we're looking at my dad now having dementia. And again, not enough planning done. And it's because these conversations aren't taking place. People are afraid of death. They don't want to think about it. They don't want to look at it. They don't want to talk about it. And we need more of a conversation than just don't put me in a home.
Right. Right. And so that is your expertise, is helping families have that conversation first and foremost, right?
Yes, I facilitate those conversations for families that have difficulty getting this topic started. I have a couple of tools that I have, excuse me, a couple of tools that I have that helps break the ice and help people focus. And having a third party there that is objective helps to keep emotions kind of tamed a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and I can imagine emotions are all over the board. Depending on what's going on in the family dynamic, depending on who you're talking to. I would assume that talking to a spouse is different than talking to a child, is different than talking to a sibling. So who typically who normally contacts you, if there is a norm, if there is a typical here, and what does it look like, sort of you sliding your way into helping guide that family, just to kind of paint a picture for us here?
Sure. I don't know that there is a norm yet in my practice.
Yeah.
I can tell you that I did an educational speaking event a couple of months ago at a senior living facility. It's for active seniors, independent senior facility. And a 92-year-old lady approached me afterward and said, my husband and I are in our 90s and we have a lot of things in place, but we've never heard of this. And I'd really like to talk to you more about it. So I'm actually doing an intake for them next week so that I have, and they are very well prepared. I was very impressed with, they know where things are. Their sons know where things are. Their sons, because of them being in their 90s, they're not very technologically savvy. So
Mm-hmm.
one of their sons manages all their online accounts, and they're really set up for afterlife. What I'm more concerned about, because there are a lot of people, not a lot of people, when I find that people have taken care of end of life planning, it's more post life planning. They've
Mm-hmm.
taken care of funeral arrangements, celebration of life. What do I want done with my body? Those kinds of
Mm-hmm.
things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more concerned about what you want before you die.
Right.
Do you want to be resuscitated? Do you want intubation? If we get to those things, I mean, the ideal way to go is just to go, right? Doing
Mm.
something you love or in your sleep. That's not the reality for most.
Most. Yeah.
And so as we're declining, what's the plan for care besides family? If you want family, that's great. If family is willing, wonderful. It's a beautiful thing. I did that for my grandmother. For my dad, what he would talk about, it wasn't appropriate. So we did place him into a care home. He's started with dementia,
Mm-hmm.
and yep. And so, and is financial planning in place for the wishes that you want or your plan B or C? Because it's very expensive. A lot of people think, oh, well, at the end, I'll just be on hospice and I want to die at home. Well, hospice is only there for about an hour a week. And you get a CNA visit maybe twice a week for bathing. That's it. Someone else gets to step in and do whatever else the patient needs. Meals and entertainment and, whatever else they need is either on family or on care that's, paid for by the family and brought into the home. Or there are hospice facilities, and most people don't want to, be in a facility.
Right.
Which is understandable. But because we don't talk about it, people don't understand. My own stepmom said, I was asking her questions about what she wanted at the end, and she said, well, hospice will be there. And I said, no, sweetheart, they'll come in and they'll check on you once a week. Someone else needs to be there to help you, possibly get to the bathroom if you're weak, or if you lose continence, to help with that, and be available all throughout the day for when that needed to be addressed. And so people just don't know because we're not having the conversation. They make assumptions and think that things are going to be paid for and taken care of, and they're just really not.
So that brings me what a lovely setup that was, right? Because that brings me into my big question for this show. What's one of the main things that people don't set up for themselves that you're finding?
They don't have their advanced directives done that tells you, that lays out specifically what you want at the end. And that is more of on the medical side. I get into more of, how do you want your final days to sound, to smell, to feel? Who do you want there? Who do you not want there? Because that is a thing too that families don't talk about. That, there are certain family members or people that they don't want to happen. What are your spiritual beliefs? And all of those kinds of very personal details that it's good to have shared well before you get into a situation where you're, facing death imminently. And then the financial setup.
The expenses.
People don't really have a plan. And so they're like, okay, I need to save all this money for retirement, save. And there's more of that. There's a lot more to it than that, than just having a big pile of money. It's, how is that money distributed? Where are taxes involved? Or can you do it in a non-taxable way? And is your money in the stock market, or is it in a safer place like an indexed account where you're only guaranteed to gain, never lose? And so there's just a lot more to it that people don't think about because they're talking about it. They don't want to think about the end.
Well, and what about after death expenses?
So yes, after death expenses are very important to cover for families.
Right.
And so, that is traditional life insurance. Traditional life insurance really only covers after death expenses. What a lot of people aren't familiar with is life insurance with living benefits. And what living benefits does is it sets you up to be financially protected for major medical negative life events, such as a heart attack, stroke, cancer. It can also cover chronic conditions at end of life. If you get a terminal diagnosis, where the doctor says you have less than 24 months to live, for heart attack, stroke, and cancer, you can get paid while you're still alive. Because you file a claim against life insurance doesn't mean you've died anymore, or your family's filing a claim. You can file a claim to get help to recover or get treatment for those conditions, up to 75% for critical and chronic illness. For terminal diagnosis, up to 90% of your death benefit payout. And for chronic, 2% which doesn't sound like a lot until I tell you that that's per month.
Mm-hmm.
So towards the end, say when my stepmom had just 2 years left to live, they could have said, you know, you're terminal, and she could have gotten 90%. And that 90%, all of those are tax free. And you don't have to file, like fill out receipts or submit receipts or anything like that. You just get the money and you get to do with whatever you want with it. So if my stepmom wanted to take us on a trip to Greece instead of doing chemo, she could have done that. It's really quite amazing.
So is the time to get that particular coverage when you're going through this experience? Can you
No,
get that
ma'am.
coverage? Okay,
Yeah,
that's huge, I think.
it is too late by then. So you
Yeah.
want to get it, the younger you get it and the healthier you are, the better your better coverage you can get and the lower your premiums are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And just so you know, it's cheaper to cover women than men, and everybody needs it. This can be children can have living benefits coverage life insurance. And this is
Mm-hmm.
another thing we don't like to talk about, but there is a reason there are Phoenix Children's Hospitals and a Banner Children's Hospital and St. Jude's. Kids get sick too.
They do. Yeah. So, what does it look like? For example, I'm assuming that you help guide families with this as well. Obviously, when you're sitting in the living room having the round table about what to do with mom or grandma because she's at that point, obviously, that's too late to talk about to have this conversation. Probably not for the family members. I mean, they can learn from that experience, right? And they can talk with you about gaining guidance for themselves. But when should grandma have had that conversation with you? And what do the costs look like for somebody that's in their 30s versus maybe in their 60s kind of thing? Am I asking the right question?
You sure are. So I would
Thank you.
say we like to use in our demonstration $1 million account. For $1 million policy for someone in their, you know, like 20s to 30s is only about 35 to 40 bucks a month.
Okay.
And I can use an example of me personally. I got my policy last year because I didn't know before last year
Mm-hmm.
about this stuff either. Only about 9% of Americans are familiar with living benefits.
Wow.
And something else to know is that not all companies that offer living benefits offer them at the percentages that I mentioned. So they may tell you, yes, we have your policy has living benefits. It's important to ask what percentage those payouts are. And if you're not getting the levels that I mentioned, 75%, 90%, 2% a month, and the death benefit is always 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Those are just great questions to ask about your own policy. And I can tell you that if you only have coverage through work, you do not have living benefits. It is just simply not offered as part of a work policy. And if you leave that position for whatever reason, by your choice or your employer's choice, it does not go with you.
Mm.
So for me, when I got my policy, I was 51. I'm a cancer survivor. I have a lifelong asthma diagnosis. And because of the cancer, I no longer have a thyroid. And so they actually would not cover me for critical illness or chronic illness because of my cancer history. It's very important to look into this before you get a diagnosis if possible. And that doesn't mean not to look into it after, because I still got coverage for terminal illness, Alzheimer's, and critical injury. So if I were to get into a major car accident, I would get a living benefits payout. If I got a terminal diagnosis, I could get a living benefits payout. And Alzheimer's at the point where I can't do 2 of my 6 activities of daily living, which if your audience isn't familiar, that's the things you do when you get up in the morning that you take for granted. You get up out of bed, which is transferring. You make it over to the bathroom, hopefully with your bladder and bowels intact, and that's continence, toileting, bathing, dressing, and feeding yourself. So for me personally, I'll just tell you, my policy, I have a $250,000 coverage with those 3 living benefits intact. Those living benefits, by the way, don't cost anything extra. They're just riders on your normal life insurance coverage.
Oh, okay.
My policy is $117 a month for $250,000 coverage, and so much peace of mind in case anything happens to me, for my husband and for me, because I would benefit from that with one of those living benefits triggers.
Absolutely. So I love that you brought up the 6 activities that I don't remember the name that you had for it, but it was really great. Anyway, so if you are unable to do, just so that I understand appropriately, if you are unable to do 4 of those or 2 of those,
Just
then
2.
Oh, okay. So say, for example, you couldn't transfer and you were incontinent, then that would be your 2. And then you would receive some payouts based on that, or how does that work?
Yeah, I believe that is, excuse me, there's a hair on my face.
I hate that. Drive me
I was
crazy.
like, it's just itchy. Oh, there it goes. I found it. Yes. So if you can't do 2 of the 6 and a doctor says that that's like not reversible,
Yeah.
right? It's a chronic condition, then yes, you would file a claim. The insurance company does their underwriting and their investigating, and they get all your medical records and things like that, and they make an offer of what they think that that's going to be worth. And then you at that point get to decide, yes, I want to take all of what they're offering, or no, I only need this much and I want to save the rest of it for possibly another event or for a death benefit.
Mm-hmm. Do they drop you at that point if they're paying
It depends
out?
on how much you take. So
Okay.
it depends on the situation, how much they offer, how much your policy is, and like how much would be left. So it's very circumstantial. But yes, you can use enough of a living benefit to basically void the policy.
Got you. So let's just use me as an example. So I'm a professional. There's a lot of complex things that I understand, Jen. I sell houses. Insurance, like health insurance, life insurance, is not one of the complex things that sticks in this brain, as something that I fully understand. So if somebody like me hears this video, watches this video, and wants to get more information just to have a more clear understanding of what this is all about before they decide to make any sort of moves, do you offer something like that? Can they get in touch with you? Do you have classes or anything like that would be helpful in that respect?
Absolutely. So we have a free online workshop that we offer called Money 101. It's offered weekly. We do it in person occasionally here. We are working on scheduling one for January in Mesa. I don't have exact details on that yet, but I believe that you will put my link in the show notes and it's available. It'll be, I list all my events on my link tree. And additionally to that, working with me, we're a fee-free organization. So I gladly do free consultations. I encourage people to get actual numbers. I can give you estimates. Work with me to get those estimates so that you have actual numbers to work with if you would like to make that a goal in your life. Because most people overestimate the cost of life insurance. Most people do. And so it's better to just meet with me. I'll get some information from you. We'll go over your needs. We'll do a needs analysis because a lot of people also don't know how much life insurance would be best for them. So it depends on your expenses and your debts and possibly, what you want to set up for your children's education, things like that. We take, loans into consideration, like outstanding loans and those kinds of things into consideration. So we do a needs analysis and we can give you several different quotes based on the coverage that you want or based on how much you can afford monthly.
Awesome. I personally appreciate that very much. I know that, again, there's not enough talk about this either out there. There's not enough to me. I don't think there's enough education out there for this. And, I think sometimes people shy away from workshops and classes and having one-on-one conversations with professionals. And that's really sad to me. But I think the problem is that they just don't want to be like attacked and cornered into making a purchase like this. And I know you pretty well, Jenn. You don't come off as an attacker to me. You've never stalked me.
I am not stalking anybody.
You're like, I don't have time for that anyways.
Right? No, I want to work with people that want to work with me. And
exactly.
I can relate to what you said about not understanding insurances. I felt the same way. I used to say insurance and taxes make my eyes cross. Mm-hmm. Health insurance still does that to me. Mm-hmm. Property and casualty, accidental death and dismemberment, all the other insurances. But my company makes it so easy that it was a no-brainer for me to pair it with being a doula.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I want to set people up so that not just they're getting great care at the end, but they have options for that care, because right now doula services are all private pay.
Yeah.
And without proper planning, that may not be an option for you. The more money you have at the end, the more options that you have.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And thank you. Thank you for being one of those out there, those honest people that just want to educate and help people. And you're not a stalker. I love it. I mean, it's perfect.
I wanted to give you one more note about our workshops.
Yes.
Our workshops teach 6 principles of saving and protecting money. We do not ask for any of your personal information. We actually don't want your personal information on a live workshop. So nobody is going to ask you for those things. And there's nothing to buy at our workshops. It's purely information. They're very safe spaces to learn more about money.
And no stalking.
No stalking.
I'm really hanging on this. I know I am. It's probably like borderline annoying at this point, but I know that that's what people worry about.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And it's unfortunate because I think my industry has not a great reputation because of those kinds of situations. I actually just met with a couple that thought they had life insurance and they only had accidental death and dismemberment. And we believe the agent was not truthful with them about what it covers. He told them that any hospitalization would be covered. And that's just simply not the case with accidental death and dismemberment. It's very accident related. So if you get cancer, you're not going to get a payout from that policy just because you're hospitalized from your cancer or your heart attack or your stroke. It's accident related. And so
Yikes.
There are bad actors out there, unfortunately, that are not being truthful and just pushing for a sale. And because we are fee-free, we take the time to teach you until you understand. We don't consider ourselves financial advisors. I'm more of a guide. I'm going to teach you until you understand, and you can make the decision because you understand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, thank you. And thank you for being here with us again. And yes, thank you for mentioning, because you know the drill around here. I will have your link in the show notes, so that way our audience could easily click on that, whether they're here watching now or they're watching, the rerun. Is that what we call it? The rerun, the replay? I don't know. Yeah. I was born in the 70s. What can I say? So it's all rerun to me. So that they can easily connect with you, Jenn. We appreciate it so very much, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye. Oh, bye. I didn't even say my whole spiel at the end. What's wrong with me? Guys, if you are loving the value that we provide here in MOMnation, it's been years and years and years now with these educational videos. Please show us that by doing a little like and subscribe over on our YouTube channel. It is at MOMnation USA. You can scroll down just a little ways and you will see the Live and Learn playlist where Jenn's videos are and many other educational videos are as well. If you prefer podcast style on your favorite podcast platform, do a quick search for MOMnation Talk Radio. There you will find us, like, subscribe, all the things, right? That is our prize. That's our present. If you want to buy us a cup of coffee, hey, I'll take a cup of coffee. But I really love it when I see subscribe. So do me a favor, guys, and hit that little bell. And now I'm really ready. We'll see you next time. Bye, Jen.
Welcome to MOMnation, where moms find real support, real connection, and real community. Founded in 2014 by Katie Holly Lambert, MOMnation started as a way to unite and empower moms. Now it's grown into a movement. Through vibrant communities, local events, and meaningful conversations, MOMnation helps moms grow, share, and thrive together. Listen to From the Heart, where we share inspirational stories, useful information, and discuss a variety of women-related topics. And check out Live and Learn, where moms just like you share helpful tips, tools, and real-life skills. Be part of something bigger. Visit www.momnation.com and follow us on social media, because motherhood is better